Seattle, home to Meredith Grey, gray skies, Starbucks, and a few billionaires. The city is the jewel of the Pacific Northwest, tucked into a maze of inlets and islands. It was once a city of promise, of growth, a new tech hub for businesses and startups. And now? In recent years, the city has been plagued with problems, most of them infrastructure related, with a few social justice warrior expeditions thrown in for good measure. Seattle has faced significant challenges with its basic functioning as a city. The leadership of Seattle has had ambitious goals in recent years to attempt to address the aging infrastructure amidst other dilemmas. Here are some highlights. The Alaskan Way Viaduct replacement, built between 2011 and 2019 to the tune of $3.3 billion. The work was completed on a 2-mile stretch only of tunnel under downtown to ease traffic and replace the former seismically prone 1950s-era 2-story viaduct. The ongoing Sound Transit light rail expansion, the cost to date, a cool $20 billion. Those costs include about 35 miles of track and 4 new stations. But don't worry, the new routes service 70,000 riders per day, so it's basically paid itself off already. Another $1.55 billion has been spent on bike lanes, road paving, and some bridge repairs, and about 200 miles of sidewalks. A new floating bridge across Lake Washington is being built. The bridge construction started in 2014 and is ongoing. The cost to date, a cool $5.6 billion. Over $50 million was spent on upgrades to the runways and aprons at the SeaTac airport in recent years to address failing concrete there. So if you're keeping track, that's about $31 billion in spending since 2011. Spending that does not include emergency repairs or other priority repairs that need to be done in the city. This also doesn't account for the day-to-day functioning of the infrastructure system in the city. And similar to New York City, Seattle just elected a new socialist mayor with grandiose ideas and the dreaded word equity. The city, according to its own data, had a general revenue in 2024 of a mere $1.57 billion from tax revenue, but it has an estimated $8.9 billion of spending budget annually. The math just simply does not add up. But have no fear, Seattle. Your new leader, Mayor Katie Wilson, is planning on saving the city with city-run grocery stores like her New York City compatriot. Katie Wilson's election platform was filled with feel-good word salads like Trump-proofing the city, as well as creating more equity in hiring, staffing, and general kumbaya moments for the city. Her election website is truly a treasure trove of modern speak if you want to read through it and have your brain melt. In addition to the expenditures on infrastructure laid out earlier, there is a litany of emergency work that needs to be done within the city of Seattle. This is really where my head starts to hurt generally with North America. As we will come to learn together on this channel, almost every city in North America is at a similar state of calamity. Our infrastructure is aging, and generally it's been poorly maintained because who wants to do unsexy stuff like fixing underground piping or conveyance or bridges or roads when they can build Soviet-style city-run grocery stores? An interesting note is that the city of Seattle is really not that old. The city was founded in 1851 with a surge in its population occurring in the late 1800s due to the Klondike Gold Rush. Seattle became a natural hub of commerce in the area, with people from the lower 48 heading off to seek their fortunes in the far-off northern wilderness. The city grew steadily following the Great Seattle Fire of 1889. Interesting that the Great Chicago Fire happened only a decade or so prior to this. We will definitely dig into the Great Fires in another video. All this being said, this city really started to develop in the early 1900s with the Alaskan Yukon Pacific Exposition in 1909. Therefore, the city's major infrastructure started developing at this time, meaning that the oldest infrastructure is only around 100 years old. Where this gets really interesting is that it's roughly the same age as much of the infrastructure in Western North America, and it is reaching a crisis point. Seattle can be seen as a litmus test for infrastructure due to its age, the city's continued growth, and additional risks such as sea level interactions and seismic conditions. And now simply we are at an inflection point. All infrastructure eventually needs repairs, and repairs have become ever more expensive in recent years. Construction costs are now at an all-time high, And it just exacerbates all of these budgetary problems that all of these cities in North America have. City councils of the past in North America were generally of the mantra deflect, 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 which is fine until now we have a steaming pile of backlogged, broken infrastructure that we need to fix. In this vein, Seattle has over $10 billion of deferred maintenance, meaning maintenance that needs to get done, but they have deferred or prioritized other projects in preference to that deferred maintenance. And based on the increase in construction costs year over year, as well as the exponential increase in aging infrastructure, the number is only going to explode. Some of Seattle's other emergency-related infrastructure costs include $1 billion in wastewater and stormwater upgrades. Great. But the description of most of the work does not appear to be fixing underground piping, collection, or treatment systems. It is described as, quote, tackling green infrastructure to handle climate change-driven storms, end quote. Not necessarily addressing fundamental issues or improvements that are really needed. Due to its location, Seattle is prone to a variety of environmental risks, actually real ones. West Coast storms, ice storms, rainfall events, seismic concerns, and more. In 2020, the West Seattle Bridge was suddenly closed after rapid cracking was noted. Over $250 million was spent to retrofit the bridge over 4 years. Not to mention the Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapse way back in 1940. The environmental conditions in the area are not overly favorable to exposed or buried infrastructure. An additional $1 billion is earmarked for seismic upgrades to other infrastructure in the city. As an aside, a large sinkhole appeared in the Ravenna Park area of the city in 1957, when a section of the original brick 1910 vintage wastewater pipe collapsed. This area is continually monitored, as it has been noted that soil conditions in the area continue to be unstable. So the cautionary tale is this. Pack up your new iPhones, pack up your MacBooks and hipster thrift store wardrobe and head for the hills. The City of Seattle has a working document entitled the Seattle Hazard Identification and Vulnerability Analysis, which, otherwise known as SHIVA, which serves as a conglomeration of information about, you guessed it, the ID and assessment of the vulnerable structural infrastructure within the City of Seattle. On one page, it notes that they had 4 high-profile bridge collapses in the region of Seattle since 1940, which is truly a shocking statistic in our modern world. Nonetheless, the document is really interesting. It lays out 4 clear paths or major risks to the city. Number 1 being earthquake and seismic activity. Number 2, snow and ice storms. 3, cyber attacks to critical infrastructure, which is definitely a topic I want to dig into on future videos. 4th is challenges due to the geographical considerations of the city of Seattle if a disaster were to occur. I'll link the entire Shiva document in the show description. The new administration of Mayor Katie Wilson inherits former mayor's $8.9 billion annual spending budget, in addition to the deferred maintenance and aging infrastructure we talked about. The new mayor intends to tackle this very real fiscal dilemma by, quote, taxing the top. And I can already see all the tech billionaires scrambling their jets and heading to Florida. Katie Wilson noted in a public address leading up to her intent to run that she plans to focus on transit, security, housing, mental health support, and blocking, quote, attacks from the Trump administration, which means that even foregoing federal funding in order to achieve her plans. Her plans are grandiose, utopian, but are they achievable in a city that is haunted by aging infrastructure problems, and a mounting debt? Let me know in the comments. See you next time.